off the land. Sometimes when it rains at night, she'll run away and hide. Stay away from that girl, 'cause she's mine. She will rip your life in two. Kiss her just once and you'll understand. That girl makes my whole head spin. That girl will never let you win. If you ask her for the truth, she'll tell another lie. Stay away from that girl, 'cause she's mine. She will rip your life in two. Kiss her just once and you'll understand. When she hits you with that smile, she's buying for the crimes. Stay away from that girl, 'cause she's mine. Stay away from that girl, 'cause she's mine.
Woo! Wow, wow. So this is Jackie and you're listening to Jackie's Giant Music Show. Today is, Tommy's gonna help me here, November 21st, Thursday, November 21st. And we have John Fiscella
Hello.
and Matt Compito.
Yes, hello.
Is there a little accent I should be putting on that?
No.
Compito!
Compito.
Don't compete.
Don't compete with Matt Compito. Well, so we've got these gentlemen in the studio. We have some live guests. They're not dead. They are live. And they're helping with the applause and enjoyment of the music. But they wish to remain anonymous.
Yes.
So it was a good thing we gave one of our guests a secret code name earlier, isn't it? Eileen?
Eileen, yes.
I kept referring to you as Eileen.
He said, "Is Eileen coming?" And
Is
that's
Eileen
not
coming?
my wife's name. But I said, "Well, when she gets here, we'll see how it works out."
Yes. So Eileen is here.
Eileen is here.
Compito. Where do we start? Let's start at the beginning. So you guys just played a song. I guessed it should be called That Girl.
Yes.
Correct.
And it did have a Beatles-esque vibe.
Yes, yes.
When was this song written?
We wrote all these songs in the last month.
Honest?
Honest Engine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Honest Engine?
Yes.
And you play them very well together. It's
Well,
as if
thank
you
you.
rehearsed.
Yeah. Well, we got together a few times. But basically we have sort of a system, like, sort of street corner kind of thing, that I sing a note, he sings the note right above it, or vice versa. And we follow kind of basic old-fashioned song form, like from 1930s and 40s, Tin Pan Alley. Rather than verse chorus, we do AABA. A verse, a bridge, much in the style of like Yesterday, or all the old standard type tunes. So we're sort of a throwback to that.
Well,
I guess.
you talk like you think I know what you're talking about.
I do. I think you know what I'm talking about. Yeah.
A verse.
Well, AABA, if I may,
Please, I
is
like to learn.
a standard song form where you have an 8-bar phrase like Yesterday, love was such an easy word, and then you go suddenly, blah 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 blah, and then the B section is the bridge where you go why she had to go, I don't know. Then you come back to the A section, which is Yesterday, blah 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 blah, and many old songs from the 20s up until today are written like that.
Is that like a formula?
Yeah, it's called binary song form.
I need to write this down.
Yeah.
Binary.
And you might want to get it as
song
a tattoo. That way you'll remember it. And
Well, it's funny you mentioned tattoos. I was just talking to somebody about it. I had a tattoo, but I had to have a surgery. and they removed it.
That's what happens when you change your gang affiliation. A lot of times you
You
need
have to remove your
right.
tattoos?
You go from the Latin Kings to like the Crips or
I
whatever.
just went.
Yeah.
I went from the. I probably shouldn't even say that. Would be too much information. Childbearing years to the non-childbearing.
Right.
And
There's a great joke about that where the woman says, she's talking about her bra size. She's like, "Yeah, I used to be a 34D. Now I'm a 40 long."
oh, that's really
Yeah,
funny.
so,
that could be true. Mine, no, actually, it's not true about me. But
We'll take your word for it.
see, there's where a nice sound effect would have been good. But let's so okay. So you told us about the song,
Yeah.
and it was called That Girl.
Right.
And
you could use a wood block. It's similar to, like I said, to like
Yeah,
Hard
I'm
Day's
hearing
Night
that.
era of Beatles.
I will apologize. I was going to do the egg shakers,
Yeah, we
but
wanted the
then
egg shakers on
I
it.
wanted to start sharing this on a couple Facebook pages, and I couldn't. My left arm does not keep the beat as well as my right arm.
Right.
This is my dominant arm, I guess.
Right.
It's not about me, but I'm going to talk about me.
Why not?
That was why I stopped doing that, because I started screwing up the beat, and I didn't want to ruin your song.
And you would, right, it would have been an ugly situation with fisticuffs and the police and
No,
stuff.
I don't. Well, no, but I didn't really want to get a reputation for somebody that doesn't have, can't play a beat.
Right.
It's out of turn.
Once the
play a
word
beat.
on that gets out on the street, forget it.
Sounded
I
pretty good
know.
in the beginning.
It sounded pretty good.
I
I
can
liked it.
keep a beat. That's
Yeah,
what I want.
I
I
liked it.
can keep a beat. We had a guest in here one night in the outside studio, and I picked up the shakers, and he told me he started freaking out, and he's like, "Oh no, she's going to do this." He goes, "I was pleasantly surprised.
There you go.
You actually could keep a beat. I can dance too, but I can't sing."
Get up on the table.
Okay, that's the next song we do. But John, you and I have a little bit of a history. We've known each other for quite
Well,
some
our
time
prison
now.
days,
From prison? There's a theme here. Do you have a prison tattoo that I should be asking to see?
I have a Hello Kitty, but it's it wasn't
Is
from
it in
prison.
black and white?
It's from a time in my life that I don't really talk about.
Oh, hello. But more seriously, we met through your son actually.
Yes.
And he plays in a band or
He
played in a
was in
band.
a great band called Gilbert, and they were incredibly successful for a bunch of high school kids.
They were really,
And
yeah.
they literally had more gigs than they knew what to do with. They won every contest in the area, every talent show, every battle of the bands, just everything you could do. They were on television, on the radio, and then unfortunately they were just too young. Everybody went off to college, and that was that. But if they had been in their 20s, and the singer from that, Jade, she's still playing around. She's only in, I think, 11th grade now.
Yeah,
still.
she has
was
a
like the youngest one.
Jade band, doesn't she?
Jade, yeah. So
Well,
she,
wasn't Owen younger?
Owen, yeah, Owen
The
was
drummer?
he was the first couple of gigs he was like 12,
He was napping.
and he was nodding off.
Yeah.
It was kind of like a tribute to Keith Richards because he would just nod off halfway in the
Ah,
middle of the song.
I hadn't
So
thought
people-
about it that
right,
way.
so it was kind of like, hey, he must be into the Stones or something.
Very rock and roll.
Yeah, it was. It was.
Well, I was going to ask Tommy maybe to just play a little bit of this one song called Live because your son is featured at the very beginning of that. And let's see if the audience can figure out what his instrument is.
This?
This is called, is it this?
Yeah.
Yes, this. And we have a live version of that. Yeah, play this. Just play that.
This and that.
Just play it. Our mics are not hot, right? Our mics hot?
No, they're off.
I thought I heard, there is piano at the beginning of this, right?
I don't know.
There is a piano.
Yeah. I was trying to listen, of course, as I told you. I
We
was trying.
have more songs.
Oh, you?
Yeah, we have like.
Yeah, I
5.
just wanted to
Okay.
feature them a tad bit because we were talking about that. It's only a few seconds and that.
Because I listened to a lot of those.
You should.
They're good. They're really good. Yeah.
So, okay, I guess we'll fade out of this now. Just because I want to. Well, I don't know if the audience got a sense of that, the greatness that is Gilbert. But, so, Eddie
Well,
plays.
actually, my son Eddie Fiscella has he's in Berkeley College of Music now. He has a Spotify channel where he puts his compositions on it. He actually won a bunch of composition contests. He won like the New York State electronic composition contest twice in a row. when he was in high school, and now he's getting more into like writing songs and writing arrangements. But he was writing sort of instrumental, classical, electronic music.
Yeah, it's not really fair how good he is. I'm kind of upset about it.
What do you mean? Oh,
Yeah,
it's
I
not
listen
fair
to
to
this.
you.
I listen to his Spotify channel, and it's so good. Everyone should check it out. Eddie Fiscella. It's really good stuff. It's next level, especially for like a. Was he 18?
He's 18.
18. Yeah.
That's
Incredible.
what it is, Eddie Fiscella.
Yeah.
He should be easy to find.
Yeah,
It
I
can't
don't
be
know how you do it. I
hard.
think you go on Spotify.
Yeah, if you're a
Fiscella,
Spotify member, you just type in Eddie Fiscella right in the search
Yeah,
bar.
and he's got, he did a lot of sort of modern, classical, for lack of a better term, compositions, and he's writing songs now, and like me, he's into the Beatles and that kind of Everly Brothers and kind of older music stuff like that. So he's got a Billy Joel. He's a big Billy Joel fan.
Well,
He's a
'cause
piano
of the
player,
piano,
right?
yeah.
So.
Interesting. Well, you said modern classical, and that's the thing that I've just been starting to get into
Yeah.
listening to. I just found this Lisa Zuckerberg, who has a Facebook, not a Facebook page. Well, she does, but she has a website called Here It There. Have you heard of that?
No.
You guys, if you have gigs going on, you should get on the website Hear it with your ear,
Mhm.
HEAR, hearithere.com. You can post your gigs on there. She will promote you. She sends out an email twice a week, at the beginning of the week and the end of the week,
Mhm.
for free. Doesn't cost you anything, and get in front of 1,000 other people that you may not get in front of.
That's really awesome. What's your name again?
Well, Elisa Zuckerberg is her name, but the website is hearithere.com.
Here, right there.
And I can send you that information.
Awesome. Thank you.
Anyone listening that is a musician or a promoter. And this is a commercial for her. She's a sponsor of the show.
Oh, good.
Beautiful.
And I lost my whole train of thought of why I brought her up even. But do you know why, Eileen?
We're talking about classical.
Oh, yeah.
Classical
Class,
music.
thank you. I'm famous for having a bad memory. 2 cellos. And I said to Elisa, I just found this band called 2 Cellos, and she told me it's been around forever. It's fascinating. It's modern rock music played by cellos. Anyway.
That is awesome. Was it the ones that there's a group that plays like really popular covers on cellos?
That is a bunch of men. And I've watched that too. And
Yeah.
that's
That's something
fascinating.
different though.
Yeah,
Oh,
but
okay.
it all seems to be coming in.
Mhm.
So, what's your name? John. I almost called you Eileen. No, I really need, I think I'm going to meet somebody named Eileen. Eileen, if you're out there, please come find me. John, are you classically trained?
Yes. In fact, I often do. I write like classical pieces for when they have like art gallery exhibitions, and they have like these storytelling things called abrasions that they have.
Right.
And I put together like I'll do a piece for guitar, flute, violin, oboe, or whatever. And once again, I usually write it like a couple of nights before, and I do. It's very baroque sounding. If it ain't baroque, don't fix it. I'll tell you that right now. But it's like very Bach.
It reminds me of Ty. Ty is his brother-in-law.
Yeah, and I get like Steve Jacque, who's a local guy, a great flute player, and his daughter is a great violin player. So we get them, and they will actually walk in and they sight read the stuff like on the day of the thing.
Yeah.
So I write it, I put it in front of them, and I go count it off, and they just read it, and that's it. They read it cold. No rehearsal, no nothing.
No, nothing.
No nothing.
I want to talk about that a little more, but I have a question. You say you write music. Do you actually draw a little circle with a line and a thing, and you write it like
that's how
that?
I do it, yeah.
There isn't a computer program that does that?
I write it on paper because when the ideas are coming, I just want to write it quick, and then I'll have my son or somebody who can print it up. But sometimes if I'm doing it the night before, that's it. I go to the gig and I'm like, sorry, pal, you got to read it from my chicken scratch, and there's like a coffee stain on it, and half a burrito gets stuck to it or something. But yeah, I write it out with pencil first. You got to cross things out. The computer is too slow. You have to mouse something. You have to already know what it is. I think to do it on the computer. You know what I mean? You can't really create it. You got to create it and then say, all right, now let's just notify this on a digital format. What's nice about that is you can change keys. You can write a whole piece and be like, I like it better in B flat. Boop. In the old days, like when I was in school, if you wanted to change the key, you had to stay up all night, get a bunch of friends, get a pizza, and have to change every note, move every note up a step.
Don't you use a pencil that you could just erase, or?
Well, if you have thousands and thousands of pages of notes, You know, it's not easy to just erase each note when you can hit a button, boop, and then the whole thing just pumps up, you know.
Well, I don't know anything about songwriting, but it seems to me that if you change one note, that you have to change. You're saying you have to change all the notes
Yeah,
because
that's
otherwise
what you
it
do,
sounds
yeah.
wacky.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting. I'm learning because you are a teacher,
Oh, yes.
and I understand that you were a teacher for Matt
Yes.
before you became friends.
Well, we became friends immediately, but
you were
I'm
friends
about.
with a 7-year-old?
Well, no, he was 7.
I think it was 10, right?
He was a little more mature from me. He was about 10 or 11.
You were.
Yeah, so I'm about 20 years older than him. So he lives in my town, and his father brought him over for guitar lessons. And his father would actually stay with him, like in the room, just sit like right there next to him. And I don't know who was more nervous, him with me or him with his father sitting there. And so the first lesson he comes in, and I've got a whole bunch of stuff stacked up. I got a drum machine, I got books and this and that. And he just walks in, he's like, hello. And he goes to shake my hand, and he knocks over the whole stack of stuff. Drum machines and, you know, electronic gears.
sweating.
And then, you know, his dad was like, oh, man, come on. Oh, dude. You know what I mean? So we smacked him around, the two of us. The father would like kind of hold him down, and I gave him a little open hand,
No, Daddy, no.
kind of thing like that. And then, but you know, when he came to though, I think he learned his lesson, and
Oh no.
that was a lot better.
Oh, I'm
He's
sweating.
a better
Like,
man for it.
I'm sweating hearing the story.
Right.
It's
I
tough.
can't tell that you're sweating, but I do want to thank you both for dressing up for the evening.
Of course.
Well, I've been told a lot that I've got a great face for radio, so I figured why not?
Play it up. Well,
Right.
you did not know you were going to be
I
on
didn't
Facebook Live
Well, I
at
heard
the time.
rumors, you know.
Yeah, we like to do that, and if I'm motivated and I get my act together, you go up on YouTube. We have a YouTube channel for
Yeah, let it rip.
thebeatofthevalley.com. It's just a matter of me doing it. I sometimes just can't get to it. What do you want to talk about? So let's go back to you were talking about Celebration.
Yeah.
And is that in 2 days from now?
Yes, we're playing at that too.
You both are?
Yeah.
Is Eddie coming home to play or
No.
he's in Boston, right?
He won't be celebrating with us.
No Celebration.
Yeah.
How did you come up with that name?
I didn't. It's actually a worldwide event. Storytellers all over the world, like in every country, decided they picked this one day, and at libraries all over the place, they just have these. They have bring in about 5 or 6 storytellers and they tell stories, and we got hired to play some music in the beginning, and we do bumps, like as each storyteller's getting off. You know, we'll play like a little music, like if a woman's up there, we'll play Pretty Woman, and she gets up, and if it's a guy and a girl, we'll play The Odd Couple or something like that. And, you know, we try to entertain and also mock, you know.
Oh, so I thought you were part of the, now I understand what the Celebration means, because they're telling stories. So you're kind of like in between sets, if you
Yeah,
want.
I start the thing off with music, and sometimes we do like guitar and do like regularly like jazz guitar stuff. Other times we do, like I said, I do a classical thing. I'll just bring in, you know, flutes and oboes and strings.
Elbows?
I'll bring in my elbows, yeah, and you know, write something for that, and you know, it kind of classes the joint up. That's always good for like art gallery stuff. When somebody has an art gallery showing, they'll hire me to come in and just write classical music for, you know, just for as people are looking at the paintings and whatnot.
Did you contact me when I was looking for some kind of background music? I think you did, for when we had the Farm to Firehouse, and I was looking for a jazz guitar player.
That might have just been prank calls.
No, it was an email.
Yeah, no, that was,
text.
yeah.
Frank text?
Yes, I do. I also do that, yeah.
So you also play jazz guitar,
I
I
do,
think, right?
Yeah. We'll play
Because,
some today if you want.
well, I'm gonna get there very soon, cause I got a hankering for that, but back to when we met, you did an event with, Anthony Gatch?
I'm playing with him tomorrow night.
Are you really? Where are
Yeah.
you guys playing tomorrow?
What's the name of that place? The Yorktown Grill.
Oh, with
he's got
Matt Crossett. Matt's the owner
Okay.
of
He's
the
got like Anthony's got like a 6-piece funk band.
Harmonic Aggression.
Harmonic Aggression, that's right.
Yes.
And I just call it Gatch.
I
you
call
know.
him Gatch too.
You know what I mean? Gatch as Gatch can. That's what I say. It's a whole batch of Gatch. And call him Catchford and Simpson. You know, all that good stuff. But it's all his original funk tunes.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm playing guitar on that. I haven't met any of the guys in it. And in fact, the bass player has never played with him either. So to the two of us are just going to be there, like, so I can't look at him for help, and he can't look at me. It's just, you know.
Well,
it's gonna be
you'll have to follow Anthony. Does Anthony play? He's trumpeting
He's playing
in this,
trumpet,
right?
yeah.
So you can't really follow him.
No.
The drummer will keep you guys together.
Well, he'll keep a beat. He's not going to be like, A flat minor.
Wait, is the bass player Jason?
No. Big Jason is the stand-up bass guy. They got another guy. I don't know who it is.
Oh.
I don't know who it is.
Jason has like a funky hairdo.
I
Roberts,
just know
I
that
think
he
his name is.
plays stand-up bass.
Oh,
Yeah.
I've not seen him play that. If it's
Yeah.
who I'm thinking of. Well, that'll be fun. So that's tomorrow night at Yorktown Grill. What
Yes.
time is that?
We go on at 11.
Get out of Dodge. How
Yeah,
do you
oh,
stay
yeah.
up that late?
Crystal meth. is
Oh,
good for
I
that.
would took a nap.
Yeah.
Well, so then that's not, that's possible I could make that, because we have Pauling's Got Talent tomorrow night at the Pauling High School, where we have juniors and seniors and adults also performing, and one of the judges, if anybody wants to slip me a 10. And that is a yearly thing that we do there. This is, I think, I can't even guess. This is my third time doing it, so that'll be a lot of fun. That starts at 6:30. And what, yeah, so I would
So
love
can
to
we do
hear-
another song, or?
That's about what I think we should do.
Okay.
What will you do for us?
This is a song I wrote called No One's There. And it's got a bit of a little Rod Serling kind of a twist ending to it.
Ooh.
So each verse has a little clue as to what's happening. And it's a little Everly Brothersy, it's a little Bob Dylan, a little Beatles, and see what you think.
I can't wait. I'll have to pay attention. I'm
Yes,
going to do some sharing.
Yes, there's a clue in each verse.
Okay.
Louder.
In the dark, she calls to me. I look around, but I can't see. I reach out for her hand, but no one's there. I walk the streets late at night. Up ahead, I see a light. I follow where it leads, but no one's there. I'm looking for anyone, but there's no one to hear my call. On the halls, all alone, I could swear I hear the phone. I place it to my ear, but no one's there. Grasping at shadows now and wondering how I lived before. See a friend, I say hello. He walks right by like he don't know. It's been this way for me since the day I died. It's been this way for me since the day I died.
Hey.
You guys dead the whole time. Did you get that?
Yeah,
No,
Yeah,
I
good
didn't.
stuff.
So, give me some hints.
Okay, so in the first verse, he says, in the dark she calls to me, I look around but I can't see, there's no one there. Second verse, he says, I see a light late at night, I walk to where it leads, but no one's there. Then he says, I see a friend, I say hello, but he walks right by like you don't know.
Ah,
He's dead the whole time.
like what's that? I See Dead People. What's that movie?
Right,
Sixth
Sixth
Sense.
Sense.
Sixth
Yeah, yeah.
Sense. Oh my God, that movie.
We try to have at least one person die in every song, if we can.
If possible.
If possible.
But all possible.
Yeah.
You're not are you killing people or are they just dying?
We just describe their demise.
You know, you may be joking, but I had a guest in here not that long ago, Pluck and Rail, who you may know of. They are from our area where we live. And they are very dark and they talk about death on most of their songs.
Well,
We have to introduce you.
Yes.
They have a banjo and a upright cello. Well, they are all upright, aren't they, cellos? I like to sound like I know what I'm talking about, but clearly I don't.
sounds good to me.
That was a beautiful song,
Thank
and
you.
I was busy sharing the Facebook Live event, or I would have paid better attention, because I like to get into the lyrics. So maybe you'll share those lyrics with me, you know.
Sure.
You can take a picture of it and send it to me. We have to get a little bit of conversation with Matt. What do you think?
Sure.
Sounds good.
Does Matt get a chance to talk here, or,
Nope, absolutely not.
you know,
Uncalled for. Sorry.
you're what?
Sorry, I was just kidding.
You're here for your good luck. I happen to go on your Facebook page and I see you have an event coming up in Somers.
Yep.
At the DeChico's and stuff.
They have a bar upstairs. It's really nice. It's a rather large area with tables and a really long bar. It's a nice area, yeah.
And a grill up there too,
a
right?
grill, yeah, they're really good food, good burgers.
There's a
up there.
gorilla up there?
There's a gorilla up there. No one knew.
Yeah,
Steer
don't tell
clear.
anyone.
Yeah.
There's also an elephant up there. But I want to ask how you got in there. I reached out to them several times and they told me they were not going to do any music in there. And
I think the manager was talking to one of my neighbors who hired me to do a Rocktoberfest this past year. And they were just saying, oh, like, we're thinking about doing some live music. Do you, like, and I don't even think they asked him if if he knows anyone. I think he just, like, said my name, which I really appreciate, by the way. Thank you, Adrian. Yeah, and the guy called me and said we're really interested, and I went in, no audition, which I liked, and
yeah.
no press kit. Sometimes you go in and they like want a press kit, and I'm like, this is there's 3 people in this bar.
Of
You know?
course.
He does a wide range of stuff. To
Yeah.
see him on his solo gigs, he does, like rock stuff. He does some of the American songbook stuff, like, Days of Wine and Roses and My Funny Valentine, but also like, Chili Peppers and The Who. And it's a nice mix of,
Wow.
yeah, he's well-rounded.
He's well rounded.
Thanks to him.
Thanks to your early training
Seriously, yeah.
and feedings.
We might do some of
time.
these tunes there too, actually.
Are you
Yeah.
going to also be
Yeah, I'm
with
going to
him?
sit in for a set. I'm going to let him do his thing, and then I'm going to come in and sit in on one set, and we're going to do some of these originals.
Is this the first time they've done music there? Cause I've
I
not
think so,
heard
yeah.
about
It's the very
it.
first time. Yeah.
I will be, it's the Thanksgiving
Thanksgiving
weekend, right?
Eve,
It's
yeah.
Wednesday
Thanksgiving Eve,
night
yeah, they
from
call it.
6:30 to 9:30.
Correct.
And folks listening, I told everybody in Somers on Somers Parents that we were talking tonight. I did just share this on Somers Parents, so hopefully you guys have friends there, right?
Associates.
Associates? No one's a friend. Well, they're afraid you're going to try and kill them.
Write about them in our songs.
Right?
Yes. If you write about them in the songs, they better just leave town. But hopefully, you'll get a good crowd there. I mean, a lot of people like to go out.
Yeah.
If they hear the music while they're shopping, they'll come up.
Like I went there on a random like Wednesday night. It was packed. There was a lot of people there.
Well-
So hopefully there's a good amount of people that want to show up. Yeah.
Usually the music they play in supermarkets is so awful. Like if you go to Kohl's or someplace, they just play like this awful like bubblegum.
Elevator
Yeah, like
music.
thing, not even. I would wish for elevator music. It's like this horrible like bubblegum like somebody who's got a show on Disney who made an album and it's just god awful.
ShopRite plays really good hard rock.
Really?
Yeah.
Really?
Well, you
I'm gonna
do
go to
the
Shop
if
Rock.
you don't do the grocery shopping, you wouldn't
Yeah, I
notice.
I gotta do more of my shoplifting there.
Oh. Da-dum-dum. But it's fun to shop at ShopRite because you'll catch me dancing in the aisles and other people are singing. It's really kind of funny
I like that.
to go and attend that and watch. But we were also talking, I guess we all kind of live. So you, John, live near Matt
Yes.
on the same side of the road over there?
No, on the
He-
same
he-
side of the road.
He doesn't. He lives in what's considered.
I'm in Somers.
Somers, right? I'm in
He's in
Purdy's.
this little hamlet of Purdy's.
Yeah.
Yeah, so do I.
Yeah.
I live, but I'm on the other side of 116.
Is that considered Purdy's, Carolina? Of
my,
Carolina?
my side of the street,
Mhm.
which is the side closer to 116, is
Mhm.
Purdy's.
Okay.
My mailing address
And then
is
some
Purdy's.
people, some people over there is Dean's Bridge too, right?
Well, Dean's Bridge is considered Somers.
Oh.
And my neighbor who's across the street from me is Somers.
Mhm.
And so then you're actually in Somers.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm over by St. Joseph's Church.
Do you want to give your address and your social security number? and
Yeah, I was going to maybe
your
give my
birth
bank numbers
Yeah.
out and like my safety deposit.
Do you want to leave your safety deposit box key outside?
Right, yeah,
You
blood
can
type. Yeah.
swing by and pick it up. But it's interesting to me that I've never met you before.
Yeah.
Although I have seen you perform with John at the Somers Library. You guys are into some interesting, different type of venues.
Yeah, do you know La Fontaine restaurant in Somers?
Yes.
I had a gig playing with a jazz duo there for was it two or 3 years. Every Friday night we would play. It was vocal, drums, and guitar, like jazz guitar, while people were eating, and it was great. We did nothing after like 1950. It was all the old
Because heritage
Sinatra,
is
the
right
Tony
there.
Bennett stuff, and all the old the Disney's. It was just a great, and I learned a lot of stuff from doing that. You know, I built up my repertoire. That's what you kind of have to do. Is to get that stuff down. You have to have a gig where you're doing that all the time, where you're doing witchcraft and all the Cole Porter stuff, and then you get that.
Oh, you scared me there for
Yeah.
witchcraft. I didn't know where you were going to go with
Speaking
that.
of which, can we do another tune?
Of course, you can
Okay.
play all night if you want.
Okay. This is a tune, it's called Man in the Sky. And as you can probably tell from the title, it's very like a David Bowie kind of type of tune. And it's basically about a guy who is looking into the sky and he sees somebody's looking back at him hundreds of millions of miles away.
Oh, that does sound Bowie.
It's a little Bowie-esque, yeah. So, gotta get the right tempo on this one.
Yeah.
2, 3, 4.
On a distant star, in a world 100 million miles away from here, across the atmosphere, there's a lonely voice calling across the galaxy. Is anybody there? Does anybody care? I can see your shining down on me every night. The man in the sky. The man in the sky. Do you see me too? In a ghostly town lives a boy who stares into a vast infinity, sails the cosmic sea. As he gazes up, he can feel the desperate calls of voices travel far. I wonder where you are. I can see your eyes shining down on me every night. The man in the sky. The man in the sky. Living on a dying world, dreaming of an alien girl. Suddenly I'm gripped with fear, 'cause she's been dead for 1,000
song, and I have to, and maybe John, you can help me with this. Your voice is really neat, and there's got a little like
you.
shaky thing in it. What is that? Vibrato?
That's, he's got a neurological condition.
Oh, I should have realized I was going to leave there. But there's really actually a
Actually,
term
for
for
a
that, right?
while, they had thought that he had
Uh-oh, here we go.
glaucoma,
Oh, no.
and it turned out his underwear was just way too tight.
Oh,
He
God.
switched to a bigger size. That's just about his natural vibrato. That's why I love writing for his voice, because this song, he actually wrote this as an instrumental. Play the intro.
Yeah, I had it
guitar
in a
part.
different key. It was like oops.
He got his own song.
Right, and so he was playing this for like years, and I was like, why don't we make that into words? Like,
Yep. He
you know.
Sorry, I don't mean to interrupt, but he wrote it in the key that suits my voice, which really helped. I was like struggling. I was like,
Yeah.
I don't want to compete with the guitar part, and he really helped me kind of glue this
So
together.
a lot of times what works on guitar to play easily and it is comfortable is very hard to sing. So we had to move it. He had it originally in what key was it?
It was in A, so it was
Yeah, so we had to move it way down to F, I guess, or the first chord was F. And so now it's singable, but it was just a little guitar lick, and it's the kind of thing you would never think of to sing, because it's it's a really weird note on that F chord. Da-da-da-da-da. But on guitar, it's easy to play stuff like that, but it's very hard to hear that and just sing it. So that kind of worked out good.
Well, that vibrato, I didn't expect it. I was like, oh, where's he going with this? And then all of a sudden that came out of
He practiced sitting on a dryer and singing
Yeah, I'll bet.
for years to try to get that.
Some of us like to sit on the gyro.
Well, it's nice and warm.
We probably should remind people that they're listening to Jackie's Giant Music Show. We're streaming live on the beatofthevalley.com, fallingpublicradio.org. We are also on Jackie Rogue's Facebook page streaming live. And on Saturdays now, we have syndicated on to WMLD, which is the Mason D. Cosmo Foundation.org. That is Saturday from 10 to 11:30. You can catch us there. And there's an MLD app. It's called WMLD On Air. You can buy it wherever you get your apps. And so hopefully folks are
When you
listening.
go apple picking, you can.
Yeah, you can. Well, the app is kind of crazy because it's on my phone, and sometimes I get in the car, and the Bluetooth just kind of connects, and then all of a sudden the WMLD On Air app comes on. I do hear some good music that I probably wouldn't have known about because they play like a variety of stuff.
Have you seen the app that comes on your phone at random times to tell you to turn it off and go outside?
There should be one.
There is. There's an app that says, listen, it's time to put the phone down. And it shows like a waterfall or something. It's like, we're going to give you a minute or two of we're going to shut your phone down for a minute.
They
So
shut you down?
Yeah, you can be in the middle of like, I need that insulin,
I know, that would piss me off, but I think it's a good idea to take breaks from
Yeah, I don't think you need an app necessarily for that.
Actually, I think it's just built in now. It just like locks you out of your phone after
Yeah.
a certain amount of
I think
time.
that
There's
should
also
be
an
illegal.
off button on the phone that you can access and then put it down.
Well, yeah, that's called self-control.
Right.
I
must have that.
do have to do that,
Pardon?
oops. I do have to
Feel free.
exercise that self-control a little bit.
Yeah.
Do you have issues with the phones, you guys?
I don't have a cell phone.
You don't have a cell
I
phone?
don't participate in any way. I don't even turn the clocks back for daylight savings
How do
time
you do it?
nonsense. And I actually have like a rotary phone with sparks coming out of it, and there's like a sweaty guy shoveling coal into it. Like, I'm gonna see Miss Liza. You know, that's the technology that I have.
My head there's smoke coming out of my ears right now. I have so many comments, I don't know which to do first. I have a rotary phone. When we bought our house and moved into it, it was a rotary phone. This is only 2 years ago, and that is what he used. And I kept it. It sits on my desk, and when I tell people that I use it, of course
It's the best.
I
Yeah.
When you pick it up, does it like have that bell, like bing, like when you
No,
know,
it
or
doesn't do that, but I actually, the other day, I just dialed it
Yeah.
because I felt like it, and
Yeah.
it made that noise.
Yeah.
I felt like I was back in the 60s.
Yeah.
It was a warm, comfortable feeling.
Yeah.
And my nephew tried to use that phone. He didn't even know how to use it. Like, what do you do
Rotary
with it?
phones are great when you need to hang up on somebody
Boom.
because it's like, you son of a, and you slam it down. With the other, like, you son of, and it's like, beep beep. It just doesn't
No,
have
you
that
don't want to
same-
throw your phone either.
Right. You know, or if you're like Joe Pesci and you want to beat a guy to death, it's very hard with like an
A cell phone's
with
not
like
gonna
an
hurt.
And they're
iPhone
getting smaller
9.
and smaller. You can't.
Yeah, you can't
know?
really get to that skull cracking. You know.
Then you have to pick up
Right.
a trophy, bowling trophy or something.
Yeah.
Oh my, where did we go with that?
Yeah, right. How did we get here?
My head is spinning now. We talked a little bit about your writing process, John, and then
Yes.
you mentioned here that Matt writes, and I really didn't think to ask. Oh, but we're going to ask that question. Something popped in my head because I highlighted it to remind me. Michael Girth is watching you right now live from his kitchen.
Oh, nice, Michael Girth. He has a great
Wave
restaurant
at him
too.
here.
Hey, Mike, what's up, buddy? He has I think he's a chef, or maybe he manages it. He
What
was a chef.
restaurant are we talking about?
It's in Nyack. I forgot the name.
Maybe he'll write to us.
Maybe
and
he'll
tell
write.
us the
Yeah,
name.
tell us the name,
I
Mike.
think he needs entertainment at that restaurant.
That's what I'm
That's
thinking.
what I'm thinking.
Yeah.
That's what I'm thinking, Mike.
Yeah.
Come on, buddy.
Some classic rock,
Right.
a little modern jazz, and classical.
All types.
Yeah, exactly. That's what it is.
I was gonna tell you guys, I see that Arts on the, what is it called? Studio Around the Corner is doing this cool thing I'm curious about, called Scorpio Duo. They're two ladies that play the big harp, pedal harps. I've never seen anyone play a pedal harp, have you?
I haven't. No, have you?
Pedal harp. I've seen
The
pedal.
big, like the Angels play. You may
Well,
have
I
seen
remember,
one.
Harpo Marx.
Harpo Marx pedal
Yeah,
harp.
What makes
And
the
one of his-
It's the name, yeah.
Oh, you're right, of course.
Yeah, and I Love Lucy.
I love Lucy.
And boy, was Ricky mad. You know, Lucy had some splaining to do.
Oh my
You know,
God, you are confusing
He's,
everything.
he's a riot, huh?
Well, anyway, this is really interesting to me, and I did want to mention it. It's 3 o'clock on Sunday at the Arts Around the Corner in Brewster. If anyone wants to listen to modern, help me, modern
right,
classical.
it's kind of an awkward term because
Yeah.
obviously classical refers to a specific
Genre,
period,
yeah.
right? And there's classical, baroque, romantic, etc. So classical refers to a specific time. It's kind of hard to say modern classical.
Yeah, I guess that, I have to get that in my
It's
head.
like modern
because
vintage, but that's as good a term as any. You know?
Modern vintage.
They used to call it long hair music.
Long
Linda
hair?
Bernstein used to refer to modern classical as long hair music, and then rock bands and stuff came out. That was the end of that term. You know, so.
Oh wow, I'm learning stuff here. I'm also learning how to corral, what do you call it, howling cats.
Right.
But I was gonna ask you a question and I jumped away from it. Your writing techniques.
I've been if I'm being honest, I've been in kind of a slump for many
Please
years.
be honest.
And yeah, that's why I came to John. I have these ideas, and I just a lot of times I work them out on guitar first. So like my method or whatever I guess you can call it is like I like cluster chords, which just means that you take any scale really, and you take like the first 3 notes and you just keep them in the chord, which is kind of unusual because usually you just have like the root note, the 3rd, and the 5th, or something like that.
Like this would be a classical.
Yeah, and that's how I kind of create some of my melodies. Most of it is
It's like the opening for a dream sequence.
right. It's very dreamy,
As
yeah, which
opposed
I
to a
like.
chord like the traditional chord, which
Right.
is set up like that. Yeah.
So that's how I kind of started with Man in the Sky. Is I had that one cluster chord that was like, and I realized that it wasn't even. It's a great guitar part, but it's actually he helped me figure out that it's actually kind of a better melody to sing, and so yeah, I mean. I was in a slump because I was kind of on my own and for a while, and although I did play with Giuseppe and stuff, but he has his own writing style, and he's been my guitar teacher for a long time. So I just decided he kind of said you have a lot of good stuff, and he really motivated me to get going on these songs.
Right, he had the beginnings of a bunch of songs, and that's you need somebody to bounce ideas off sometimes when you have I got this great start of a tune. But where do I go from there? And sometimes the other person, it's so obvious and like, oh no, you don't do that, you do that, and because they're coming to it fresh.
Right.
You can get sick of your
You're
own
in a
idea.
box.
You lose all perspective. In fact, even in the studio, when you're recording stuff, your ears get so tired you can't even tell if like the horns are out of tune. You got to come back the next day and be like, wow, that trumpet's really flat. your ears get tired, and you get tired of hearing things, and you just lose all perspective. And then even yourself, you come back a month later, and you're like, oh man, I got to go to G there. It's obvious, you know. And if 10 people say that, then you know, okay, that must be what it was.
That's what it calls for.
Can we do one other?
Yes, but before you do, because I'll forget it, it's important to me. How do you know Joe Seppi?
Oh, Joe Seppi, we actually went to Berkeley together. He was in one of my English classes or something, and we didn't really hit it off. That we didn't really know each other there. And then years later, I met him through a mutual friend in Mayapack, and he played bass for my old high school band, Hot Soup. Because our other
with
bassist,
Dan.
Right, with Dan. And was that with Dan?
You told me you and Dan were in a band.
We were in a band in high
Dan's
school.
yeah.
Dan,
Hot
when
Soup.
Joe joined, Dan wasn't really in it though. But, we
Dan
actually, me, Dan, and Joe just played a gig at Reese Park this past summer. But yeah, so me and Joe met, and we really hit it off. He's an amazing bass player, really great songwriter. Check out his music. My name is Joe Seppi on Instagram, Joseph Seppi, I believe, on Facebook.
Joe's been on the show twice.
Mhm.
I wanted to adopt him.
He's amazing.
I love him.
He's amazing. Yeah,
Such a nice guy.
Yeah.
But now, John, what song would you like to play?
While we're here.
While we're here, since you're here.
Well, this is an interesting story. Matt was were you teaching a class or assistant teaching a class or something?
Yeah, I signed up for an after-school program that I wasn't exactly prepared for. So I wanted to make something that kind of involved got the children involved in any way possible with all different instruments and music. But what I ended up locking in on, because John helped me, was just writing a song with the kids, you know, kind of appropriate for 5-year-olds, and
No sex, drugs, and rock.
no sex, drugs, and rock.
Oh no, we put extra in there.
That was after hours.
And we had them sing it and record it. But we wrote it, and we were kind of sort of in like a James Bond kind of a mood, you know, like.
Sorry, I'm getting so excited.
You know, that kind of.
You're getting excited?
When he does that.
Yeah, so we had we kind of wrote a song like that, and then we had the kids sing on it, and then we were like, you know, it's kind of a dopey song, but it sounds fine. It sounds fun just for us to do it. So admittedly, this is a little silly. It's called Superhero.
Oh, cool.
1, 2, 3.
Is that it?
That's it.
That is fun song and
dopey.
And dopey.
No, it's not dopey at all. It's very enjoyable actually. I did want to tell you a couple of people that are listening or watching rather on Facebook Live. One of those is all of our mutual friend Lonnie Lum.
Oh yeah.
Lonnie, how are
Lonnie
you?
Lum is in my ears and in my
Well, Lonnie, I don't know if you were listening when we were talking about Tara, but
Yeah.
we did talk about Tara and Gilbert. You've got Jackie, and I can't say this, Cicogna,
Jackie Saconia.
Jackie Saconia is
Jackie
listening.
Saconia.
to-
Somers High School alumni.
Oh yeah, well she's on the train right now and she's listening to you.
All aboard.
She says you're sounding great. Maureen Shroka, somebody that I know. Jack Ahern.
Oh yeah.
You know Jack?
Yeah, he's the drummer from Ronald Reagan. He's amazing.
Oh, he's the drummer.
Yep.
Yes, I know him.
He has a gig, they have a gig same night as me actually, Thanksgiving Eve at the Yorktown Grill, where John, right, you're playing there?
Yes.
Yeah, Yorktown Grill, you're playing tomorrow night, that's Friday. And then Ronald Reggae and Dan Zlotnick is playing Yorktown Grill on the same night I'm playing the Chicos, Wednesday. Anyway.
It's hard when you have friends that are musicians or you're also a musician.
Right, you can never see each other.
You never
Yeah,
can.
yeah,
So
exactly.
you can listen to Jackie's Giant Music Show and hear a lot of these names that you're dropping.
Exactly.
We have other folks listening as well. Heidi Fiscella is listening.
Really?
And
No.
and Marianne Simmons is listening. And she says you guys sound great.
Thank you, Marianne.
Thank you.
Andrew Weiss, who's been on my show, you guys should check him out. He does some really good stuff. You can make a connection. And Catherine Vicara, I don't know if you know
Catherine
Viccaro. She likes the music as well.
Awesome.
Those
Thanks.
are
Good for
some
her.
folks
Thank you,
that are
Catherine.
listening to us on Facebook Live. Tell me a little more about this song now that you just did, Superman. It sounds to me like a song that could be on a cartoon.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
should
yeah.
pitch it to the Cartoon Network or something.
Yeah, maybe we should do that. Yeah.
As a matter of fact, the song that you did, Man in the Sky,
Yeah.
I can so clearly picture that song on a television show. Like not a
Right, right.
movie, but a TV show that is about science fiction or,
I try to get 8 hours of TV in a day,
do you?
if possible. Yeah. So and that's a commitment that when you buy a TV, you're making a commitment, to stick with
Boy, a
it.
big TV
Yeah,
too.
and especially if you've already watched half a show and then you shut it off, I really think that's just an unethical thing to do. Like there are some days where they have like that Law and Order marathon, where it goes on for like
Channel 3.
you
High
watch
on
the whole
TV.
thing. You don't watch 1 or 2 episodes. You got to watch the
Oh
whole.
my God,
Yeah, you got to
8
watch the whole
hours.
thing. You made a commitment. You honor it. That's just the way I was brought up. I don't know.
Well, so you then that is why you wrote the song because it's appropriate for television.
Yeah, I like TV. I like commercials. I like sitcoms. I like cartoons. I'm sort of immersed in that superhero culture and space.
You should see his basement. I'm sorry for interrupting.
Yeah.
No, please
his
do.
basement has the coolest action figure memorabilia all around. Like when I was a kid, I was like, whoa! I didn't even want to play guitar. I just wanted to
Yeah, I've got millions
play
of
with the action figures.
Now, are they behind closed glass?
No, these are not the kind where you keep them in the box and don't ever play with them. These got played with when I was a kid. We used to bite the heads off them and throw
Oh,
them down
gosh.
the stairs. And then my dad figured out how to fix them because there's an elastic inside of
And a
these.
wire, right?
Yeah, and they broke. We were like, oh no, maybe you found like fishing wire or something. Stuck it through there. It was like we saved it. All my
Oh
other
my
friends
gosh.
would break them and they would just throw it out. And then he was like,
He must have been a handful as a kid, huh?
Let's not go there.
Let's not go there.
Let's not go there. That's a whole nother show, right?
You said it.
We need to bring in a psychiatrist. No offense, John. I mean,
no, not at all.
that might help. But my husband collects trains, and
Yeah, me too. I got that whole train set
Lionel?
in the basement. Lionel, but I also get the smaller ones, the HO.
oh, the tiny ones.
Yeah, because you can make a bigger town if you
I
go
guess you could
yeah.
make a bigger
I,
town.
I got my dad's old Lionels and I set them up for Christmas too.
Yeah,
And he's even got to use some of the old buildings, like the Plasticville,
I have
know,
some of those
with the
things.
little diner with the girls at the counter, and it's all that like white plastic stuff.
Oh, we'll have to invite each other to check out the appropriate. Well, I don't know where I'm going. Come to my house.
Whatever
I'll
it
come
is,
to
it'll
your
be a
house
good-
at Christmas time, and
play
we'll,
date.
We'll make a play date, that's
yes,
right.
there we go. Play with the
We'll
train.
have a play date, you and my husband could talk
Yeah.
trains, he loves trains, he's got into taking photographs of trains now.
Oh
They're
yeah,
getting
my son
published.
did that. He films. He puts his his phone right on the train,
Yeah.
on the tracks. Has the train go right by it, and you put music to it. You would swear it was a real town. You get real up close to the little people, and you move the train the right
It's
way.
fun.
It's really fun. Yeah, it's a very very fun hobby. You know, I think it's kind of lost. Like, you don't see them in the toy stores anymore. We don't see everything's like little wrestling figures and video games. And you don't see like trains and
You have to
stuff
go
like
to
that.
the shows,
Yeah, it's more like an adult hobby now.
yeah, cause that's all, who can afford it.
Yeah.
Who is it, I wanna say Neil Young, but is it Neil Young that has the train collection, a big?
Rod Stewart's got a whole floor of his house.
That's right, I saw he recently he had pictures of that whole town.
Yeah,
That was
Sinatra
fun.
had that. Sinatra was big on that too.
Yeah,
Yeah, he had. He was all his life. He had huge train sets, and if you remember my father's friend that he grew up with, this guy Cuz, he had train sets set up so big in his basement that you'd actually have to crawl under it, and he had little trap doors. Remember,
Mhm.
Yes.
where you would pop up in the middle of it. If a train got stuck, you just
Yep.
see him like pop up in the middle, and. So when you guys were kids, he traded you the lead soldiers, and he got the trains, right?
Yeah.
Was that the basic
I
idea?
got the lead soldiers.
Yeah, so we've got the lead soldiers now.
oh, those are cool,
They're-
don't
yeah.
bite those.
Oh, they're so delicious though.
But
It's hard.
do you have any fillings in your teeth, cause I think
Yeah,
that
yeah.
would actually
Yeah,
hurt.
yeah. I mean, they're not as good as lead paint, but they still
That's what he
still
ate.
pretty tasty.
The
Yeah.
lead paint was what gotcha. Well, you were telling me you have amusing stories, and you certainly do.
Yes.
Why don't we talk a little bit about recording and the process? Do you guys have albums? I mean, how do people listen to your music?
You have plenty of albums, right?
Yeah. You had an artist on a week ago. I wrote all the songs on that album for Sisters in Song.
Oh, I didn't have them on my show. They were on another person's show on Monday this week,
Right.
on
So.
Kaleidoscope.
Yeah, so I did that, and there's about 12 songs on the album, and I wrote about 9 of them, did all the arrangements, did the strings, did the horns, we wrote in background vocals, saxophones, all that kind of stuff, and then they did like 3 covers. There was like, they did,
Yeah, I don't
Wings
remember
Still
what
Let Me
they were
Tomorrow,
singing
and
there.
they did like a Hall & Oates tune, because we recorded it at Hall & Oates Studios.
Yeah, I was gonna ask you about that, how
Yeah.
you got connected
So
with them.
I worked for Darryl Hall for about 2 years.
Mhm.
I taught his 2 stepchildren. He has a stepson called Orson Fry, who's like a singer-songwriter in England now, and he's got a stepdaughter called March Fry, and she's also a singer, and they all moved back to England, but they were like his stepkids, and so when they were in high school, I would go up to his mansion up in, what was the town it was in?
Armenia.
Armenia. And I would just go there for the day, just teach the 2 of them, and they also filmed his TV show there, that Live from Daryl's House. So I would be there giving them the lessons, and there'd be guys coming in with cameras, and there was so many wires on the ground you couldn't even walk. And I would be like finishing up the lesson, and they're like, all right, Chromeo's coming in, or one time it was Smokey
CeeLo
Robinson.
was
Yeah.
on, right?
Yeah, there's a lot of, so I was up there every Thursday for about 2 years, and the son, Orson Fry, I mean, he looks just like Mick Jagger. He's a great looking guy, he's a great singer, he's probably
You think
20
Mick
now.
Jagger's a good looking guy?
Mick Jagger's a good looking guy, absolutely.
Oh, I think Eileen, I think
That's
you
probably
have
why he has
trouble
trouble
over
getting the gals. But anyway, I guess he's better looking than Mick. He's like a young Mick Jagger. But yeah, so we knew the studio from that, and that's how we started doing. It's actually right across the street here in Pauling, the Peter Moshe studio. So we recorded an album there, and then once I did that, everybody who called me to record an album, I recommended that place. So there was another country singer, this guy Christopher Patrick, he was a local guy like in Peekskill, and he said, I want to record an album. I said, I know the perfect place. We'll go to Peter Moshe, and he recorded his album there. Then there was a gospel group, the Trot Singers, they're called. And same thing, I said, you got to go to this guy Peter. He's a great engineer. And Peter Moshe, he's got gold albums up all over
He's
the
a
wall.
Grammy winner, isn't he?
Grammy winner, yeah. He's actually on the Grammy committee. He votes.
Oh,
on who
does
gets-
he really?
Yeah.
I need to go rub elbows with him.
Yeah, rub whatever you want. But
No, I'm not. I'm a married woman. You are so funny.
So many.
that That's not a bird that got in. That's my mother laughing in the background.
I think we're gonna use that as one of our sound clips.
Yeah, that might be it. Loop that one. Yeah.
Rose's laugh.
Yeah.
Oh my God, John, I don't know where you come up with this. It just popped in your head, right?
You kind of lobbed that one in.
I did tell you that, we don't have any FCC
Right.
supervision, so we can have some fun here.
But I do work clean.
Oh, you do?
Yeah. Can we play another number for you?
Yes, of course you can.
Okay. This is a tune that you'll immediately recognize. We just decided, let's write a Beach Boys tune. What the heck?
What the heck?
And it's the funny thing is when you try to sound like such and such, like Tom Petty has this experience all the time. He's trying to sound like Bob Dylan, and it sounds like Tom Petty. So this is sort of we kind of started out as Beach Boys, but it kind of went into a little bit of like the Four Seasons. So
Cool beans.
This is a ballad. It's called "Believe You Me."
Oh, catchy.
Anytime.
Believe you me, the things you see, like the sun and the moon and the stars and the earth and the falling rain, were made for you and me. Believe you me, I know it's true. Mark my words, the sounds you heard, like the birds and the bees and the wind and the trees and the falling rain, were made for me and you. Believe you me, I know it's true. Believe you me. La 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 Believe it's real, the things you feel, like a child who believes in what Santa Claus leaves on a Christmas morn, were made for everyone who lives and breathes. I know it's real. Believe you me.
Thank you.
Yay! And there's that beautiful voice again.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
I was talking to John.
Gee,
Yeah, right.
geez, Louise. See that?
Well,
Rubbing off on you.
See, yes, actually, he's bringing out that snarky side. We have Michael Policastro is a friend of the show. He puts together this yearly benefit it's called the Fore and Aft Benefit Concert.
Yes, yes.
Are you familiar
I'm
with
familiar with that. Yeah, they play it at
the Ive
in
Center?
Connecticut. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
He's posting here, he'd like to talk to you. Maybe you guys could do something at the Fore and Aft Benefit Concert.
Sure.
That'd be fun.
So I'm writing notes on the back of these,
Thank you.
what do you call those, stickers. I'm trying to get rid of them because Phil Yarnell, also a friend of ours,
Mhm.
he just made me new logos.
Yeah, I saw your new logo. It's great. Yeah.
He's great.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So he's simplified this
He's
logo.
Yarnell-rific.
Yarnell Riffic?
Yeah.
I don't even know how you got there.
Well, we'll work it out later.
Well, he's fabulous. If anybody wants a logo and he's reasonably priced and he would take gibberish that I would spew out and come up with something great. But anyway, so I have all these old logos, stickers that I have to use somehow.
We like to take great stuff and make it into gibberish. That's
Well,
We're masters of that.
Masters of the gibberation.
Gibberaccio, they call it.
That, oh,
Italian.
I like that, gibberaccio.
Yeah, that's the Italian puppet maker.
No, that's a whole other name. What is that?
Gibberaccio.
No, who is it?
It's Geppetto. Yeah.
Geppetto.
Yeah, yeah.
I was gonna say Puppuccino or something. That's a pizza place, isn't
Remember
it?
that guy Bustamante?
No.
He was like the governor of California. Or running for governor. I love
Oh.
that name, Bustamante.
Bustamante?
Yeah.
That almost sounds
It sounds
legal.
dirty by itself. She gave me old Bustamante. Yeah.
Oh, it sounds like a champagne.
Right.
Now I lost my whole train of thought. All right, so Michael, I told you about Michael Polycasher. I wrote that down for you.
Thank you.
And maybe you'll have a chance to, we'll catch you. I need to come see you play because I remember you at the Somers library and you do this whole shtick that you're doing here tonight. You know, you tell a story, it's funny,
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
interesting. and
Well,
you
what
play
I did at the
beautiful.
library was I got a government grant to do a rock and roll course, like the history of rock and roll, which is a huge undertaking. And they said to me, it's going to be 5 or 6 2-hour sessions. And so it was me and Eddie, we were playing, and we would go in there, and we had to synchronize all these YouTube clips, because we started from way back. We started from, like, Big Mama Thornton, and, all these guys from, like, that you just never heard of, like, Rock Around the Clock, and all these this crazy guys from down the south. And we did all of that up until about 1985, and in the 5 classes. And like you said, we did the spiel. We had the videos behind us. And
Yeah,
we
you
tell
were
interesting-
talking about
Yeah,
this.
interesting story. And then we made a concert out of that. We did these concerts where we would do 30 songs for 30 years. So me and some other guys, we put a band together, and we would play one song from 1955 all the way up through 1985. So we do 30 songs, and we did it at the Hart Library, and then I got a call from the Somers Library and said, you got to do that over here. So we did it over there too. And it was nice because we did the same exact gig a couple of times. We just showed up with the same set list, and and then once in a while people would be like, hey, wait a minute, you flip-flop 2 songs,
Sorry.
And
Left on
we would
you.
say, well, those 2 songs just didn't go together, or they were the same key. Once in a while we'd fudge it a little bit. But people really liked it because they would try to guess what the next song was. Then we did another
You
one.
had us guessing,
Yeah,
actually.
you're right. Yeah, that's right.
We had to
Can you
guess
guess
in order
what
to hear it.
Right, a lot of people don't know the alphabet, so we would, prescribe Sesame Street for them to kind of straighten that out.
Personal jam. Sorry.
You said something about a grant. You got a grant? You wrote a grant?
Somebody at the library who knows how
Oh.
to do that wrote a grant for me to do this.
I was gonna say, if you know how to do that, we would love to have you come help us here at the
I
radio
know somebody
station.
who's really good at that.
We
'Cause
need
you
help.
got to word it just right.
Yes, I tried doing one and
Yes.
they laughed at me. I
Yeah,
mean, I got
right.
an LOL and that was
Yeah,
my
right.
email.
It has to be very woke, and it has to be it's very to a specific audience, and it has to be racial justice and all that stuff. It can't just be like I'm doing something fun for the community. It has to be very directed to
Whatever the topics are right now.
whatever the fashionable thing is right this minute. Yeah. So.
Well, we are going to run out of time eventually. Why don't you do a song? Because I'm about to choke over here and I
Okay.
need Tommy to turn off my mic. So,
Right. Okay, this is a song called 2 Moons.
so
2 Moons, and what you need to know about this song is if you live on Mars, Mars has 2 moons. That's all you need to know.
oh,
Yeah.
is there
Phoebus and
oxygen?
Deimos.
Phoebus and Deimos, there you
Wow.
go.
Good stuff.
We have our technical advisors over here. You ready?
It was January in the year 2051. Just before the Earth went spiraling into the sun. Left our planet, headed for the stars to find a home. A desperate journey, though united we felt stranded and alone. Suddenly the sky turned red, saw the Martian landscape ahead, said our prayers and braced ourselves to land. When we touched down, there were 2 moons in the sky. marching landscape ahead. Set our prayers and placed ourselves to land. When we touched down, there were 2 moons in the sky. We live underground, and we only see the sky through the window. Sky through the window. Sky through the window. Whoa, 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 whoa.
Wow, and that was 2 moons.
Yeah.
Do you guys do any blues style music?
A little bit. We do like minor blues, like bossa nova and stuff. We do like Spider-Man and
Those.
you know, that kind of stuff.
I asked because I'm leaving here on my way home, going through Brewster. The Moonlight Cafe is having a blues jam tonight.
Oh,
And so I was gonna stop by on my way home. I don't know if you guys have plans, but it's a blues jam, so you gotta do blues, but it's kind of fun, and you would meet, some new people, and,
Well, I have a gig tomorrow night that I gotta learn like 30
oh,
songs
you've
for.
gotta work.
So I gotta lie. I gotta go home and kind of.
Well,
But yeah, we play blues, but just not in this kind of context. You know, we don't really write blues
you know,
tunes.
right,
You know.
blues.
Yeah.
Well, I am going to become the vice president of the Hudson Valley Blues Society,
Oh,
so I
cool.
am pushing the blues,
Yeah.
Hudson Valley Blues Society. I want to make sure that folks know where they can find you. I know you don't have cell phone.
Don't have cell phone.
So how, do you use any social media?
Yeah, I'm on Facebook. Just John Fiscella on Facebook.
Just your personal
Just my
page, your
regular
music
name.
page, or?
Yeah, it's all one thing. It's all you know.
Yeah, kinda like mine, gets
Yeah.
kinda muddy. What about you, Matt?
I have Instagram. I think it's just my name, Matt Compito, Compito, and on Facebook, just same thing, Matt Compito.
You think?
I think.
Yeah, if you look at mine, it looks like Fiscella. It's Fiscella. Everybody leaves out the C, so it's Fiscella.
Fiscella, that sounds like a dessert.
Fiscella.
I'll have some of that
Where
with
did the
the,
day go, right?
limoncello. A few other people, Jack Higgins is watching, Percy Beeman is watching, and Russ Giordana. I don't know if you know any of those. I recognize
Those are
all
just
those
friends
names.
we haven't met.
Yes, everyone is a friend you
Right.
haven't met on
A
Facebook,
stranger
right?
is just a friend you haven't met. Right?
You should, that's not a song you wrote, that's a,
Nope, I'm quoting from, what is that from?
asking Eileen over here?
Streetcar or something, yeah.
Well,
I'm asking Eileen. What she,
we are gonna run out of time, and I wanna thank you guys for coming in.
Of course.
Thank you everyone for tuning in to Jackie's Giant Music Show, streaming on paulingpublicradio.org and thebeatofthevalley.com, as well as the on-air app. What is it? WMLD on-air app, or the Mason D. Cosmo Foundation.org. That's on Saturday. You guys wanted to take us out with a song. Do you have any more left in you?
Want to do the
yeah, we'll do a little Beatles. Is that okay?
Do you have anything else you want to say before you start talking, or
I
singing?
just want to say, good luck to all the ships at sea that are listening to this. And
Well, we know someone's listening on the train, Jackie.
if anybody out there is, feeling down in the dumps, listen to some good music and listen to some comedy, and it'll cheer you up. And tomorrow will be a brighter day.
Nice.
Oh,
Very
that's
nice.
a good
Don't
thought.
go to bed all,
Listen to
depressed and
to
down in
this
the dumps.
show.
Yeah.
and you will be smiling.
Or a strip club is good for that too.
Chippendales.
I give her all my love, that's all I do. And if you saw my love, you'd love her too. I love
Okay, we're done.
Okay.
Great.
We say goodbye to our friends on Facebook here.
Bye, friends.
Goodbye, everybody.
Bye, friends. Friends we
Hope you
know,
had a
friends
real
we
good
don't.
morning.
Oh,
Hope
the
you
record
had a
landed
real
in the
good
garbage.
time. Yeah. That's totally about.
What do you think of our melted records here?
Pretty nice.
I like it.
If you let out on the front seat of the car, you could.
Yeah, that used to happen back in
Yeah,
the
I've
day.
seen
If you
it.
had your
Seriously?
albums in the car, they would melt.
On the dashboard
Wow.
on a hot day, right?
I
Yes.
guess CDs would do that too, yeah, so I guess.
Well, you just take these and you put, I did them, and well, not all of them. Put them in boiling water, and then you can mold them around.
really?
You made
bowls.
Well,
those?
there's a lot of
Yes.
ways you can do it.
I not this. Somebody else made some too, and they.
I've seen them around at like,
There you go.
craft fairs.
Yeah, I mean it's
That's
they're
really
not
nifty.
they're not important records, you know. No offense to anybody, but they're polka.
They were important to someone.